which takes us nicely into Nedum's predictions as to who will win the league. Former Manchester City player and Manchester City TV regular, Nedum Onuoha has gone for...
I'm also going to say, as a former Sunderland player, you notice they're not down at the bottom.
Right, well, that's not...
Because they're going to be 7th. Anyway.
Right.
So for me...
Manchester City, we discussed this yesterday in depth.
Yes.
My concern is defence. You're not worried about that one bit?
Yeah, not really, no, because I think Guardiola's somebody who will try and fix those problems. I think we thought we saw the worst version of them last season.
Sir,
for a third of the season.
For a third of the season. Well, he couldn't fix them last season.
No. Let's not do this again, Dan. There's footage of this.
I know.
There's footage of this. Do you want to do this again?
I wouldn't jump in, but you've said something already that's silly.
Okay.
Because you think that Pep Guardiola's going to fix it.
He fixed it in the final third of last season.
Final third.
So there we go. And to be honest, when it comes down to who's going to win league this year, I feel City, Arsenal, Liverpool are basically the same. You know what I mean? There's no real difference between them. So when it comes down to it, I'm going to be the homer that says, yes, I'm going for Man
so really it's bias?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, all right.
It's biased. But I think most people that are deciding who's going to win the league and be in the top three, they're going through the same sort of thoughts in their mind.
I don't think as of objective pundits. I think as a professional, you should put that aside.
No, never. I think these are good signings as well, by the way. I think I can see Ryan is making a big difference. Shirky with the potential that he has, and Nori on that left side.
Yes.
Allow the players to be playing in a sort of different style. And Trafford coming in to almost have a sense of redemption because, you know, he was there before. It's good.
What about the concern of Nori's defensive frailties?
Listen, I've got no concerns about that whatsoever.
Right.
I've got no concerns whatsoever because the way he'll have to defend the City will be different to how he's had to do it in different places. So I'm not concerned. And I think he can improve as a player, so I'm not bothered about that.
So you've got Liverpool?
In second, yeah.
And then Arsenal?
Yep.
What's wrong with Arsenal?
There's nothing wrong with Arsenal because the point I just made a minute ago, Dan, is that the three are very, very similar.
Yes.
But I think, in my mind, for the way that Arsenal are, you could easily convince me to put them in second. They could very much win the league, but those three are the same. I think most people that are doing these predictions are grouping those three together and adding a 1 for Chelsea coming in fourth. That's where most people...
Chelsea are the best team in the world, yet you haven't got them in this three-horse race.
This is true, but this isn't a Club World Cup, is it? So as a consequence, it's different. Chelsea are the best club in the world, as we all know. It's always been the case. We've always sort of addressed that at ESPN. You know, you guys always spoken in that manner. I think Craig speaks of it really well. You know, Frank does as well. I love Chelsea, you know what I mean? So yeah, they are very, very good, and I think they can be in this title race for longer. But in my mind, I just don't think they'll be there at the end. So
tell me about Manchester United in 6th.
What do you want to know about United?
I want to know, what have you seen that has changed so much that's going to take them from 15th to 6th in the table?
So with United, what happens is every year there's this like summer of hope because they've got new signings, and I sort of drink that Kool-Aid, and then all of a sudden, like, it tends to go the opposite way. But for now, I believe that they'll be better. In Ruben Amorim, we've not seen the best of him yet, and I think this year now is going to be a case of what is he like as a coach? Because he has more players now that suit his style. He's had a pre-season to get those players playing in the manner that he wants. And there's no way they can be as bad as last year. You know, for them finishing 14th, I believe it was, that's a mess in itself. So I think they are capable of being able to progress up the league, not least of all because they're going to be playing one game a week. Not being in Europe should be a huge asset for them. And if it turns out to be a problem, then there's real questions about Amorim and the future of the club. Fair?
And should we take a look at my predictions then?
Go on and let's have a look.
My concern with Manchester United is that they still don't have a midfield, I think, that can compete properly.
Valid.
And I think that's going to be a big issue for them, and that's why they're not going to finish in the top 6.
Gyökeres top scorer and player of the year.
Did I put that?
Wow.
Yeah, why not?
Apparently.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, why not?
I suppose...
City 4th as well.
City 4th, yes.
Is that Newcastle 5th with Isak or without Isak?
That's Newcastle 5th, that'd be fine.
They'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine with or without Isak.
So why are Arsenal going to win it this year?
Arsenal are going to win it because they are a more balanced side. Because they've done it, been there, done that.
How close is it going to be?
Oh, it's going to be really close with Liverpool. My concern with Liverpool is the new faces. I think defensively there are frailties there that others are going to take advantage of, and I think as a result of that, Liverpool won't have the same start to the season as they did last year. And I think that's going to be a big factor because despite the fact, like the slumps, like you think, what, Plymouth Argyle and what happened against PSG, Arne Slot's never really been tested. Not properly.
That's a take.
Not 100% so far since he made the move. So there are going to be times this season, because there are so many new faces, it's going to take time for them to gel. And I just feel because Arsenal have been together and they've brought in that striker that we know they needed so much.
So he doesn't need time to gel Gyökeres. He's just going to be the best player in the league and the top scorer.
I think Gyökeres offers something that they haven't had for such a long time, Arsenal. And in that sense, I don't think he needs to he doesn't need to get 3 goals every game. He needs to get the goal that gets you over the line, which Arsenal are missing each time. Zubimendi in midfield means that they can dominate more in those sort of areas, along with Declan Rice.
Which they were dominant anyway.
Say again?
They were dominant in midfield.
Well, you're taking it to another level. And I think for Liverpool, you need Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk to be 10 out of 10 again. And can they deliver that in back-to-back seasons? And people will look at Mo Salah and say, rightly so, well, you've said that every season, look at the numbers he's kept delivering. But I just think the last couple of months of that campaign last year, we saw the worst of Mo Salah, which isn't necessarily the worst of the worst because he's Salah, but we just saw him drop off enough to make you question whether or not he can bring it.
I think Mo Salah has done that time and again, where there has been a dip in his form, but then all of a sudden you get to the end of the season and he's got 35, 40 goals. I feel that's kind of Mo Salah. I understand what you're saying, and I think for Arsenal to win the title, Gyökeres probably has to be leading scorer and player of the year, but you've also got to get the same return that you got from Saliba and Gabriel, both defensively and up at the other end from set pieces. You've got to avoid major injuries. I'm thinking Bukayo Saka here. Things just have to go right. And to Nedum's point, Gyökeres has to just fit in rather seamlessly. Whichever way, I think that top 3 is going to be a whole lot tighter than it was last season. And there's not a lot.
I just don't see it from City. I don't see City.
So how many points do you think City are going to get this season?
I don't know any points, Nedum.
Because they ended up weirdly 3 points behind Arsenal.
I couldn't tell you how many points anyone is going to get. What I'm saying is that City really concerned me last season because
through its entirety or through that spell where they were losing so many games.
City finished 3 points behind Arsenal.
That's correct, yeah.
Arsenal drew a lot of games.
So is that City's fault?
No, but what I'm saying is I think with the addition of a striker, that changes extensively, kind of given the number of games. They just drew way too many. So it really was a big gap between City, who they were, and what we saw of last season. And Turkey, I think, is very exciting.
Reinders. Reinders will be.
As much as you want to dismiss the Club World Cup,
I don't want to dismiss it.
City took that seriously. They wanted to win it.
Yeah.
And again, we saw the same mistakes that we saw last season defensively. Every game that Manchester City play, they give
Every game that every team plays, they give opportunities to the opposition.
No.
Tell me a team that doesn't.
No, I think championship winning sides, when you boys are winning the league easily, it wasn't a case. It was the case you were rolling over teams 3-4-0 and it was done.
So
I think that's the problem. The problem is that you open the door for teams. And they take that opportunity and they know they can take that opportunity now against Manchester City.
You're talking about City historically like they concede 40, 50 goals every season. Last season itself was an abomination for them. And the point I was trying to make...
But they haven't brought in any new personnel to change that.
What they have done in their favour is more players will be available to Guardiola this year that weren't there for those tough parts last year. Because you can
he doesn't like having too many players. He gets angry.
You can talk... Yeah, OK. you can talk about... Say, for example, Kuzanov did well for City, relatively speaking, yeah?
No.
In the moment, he did well for them, relatively speaking. No, he did. He did.
I don't think he did, Nedum.
I know, but that's what you think. I'm telling you what I think.
Oh, OK.
So to carry on from that point, now, at the start of this season, the last game that City played against Palermo or whatever, John Stones played. When was the last time you saw John Stones playing in the Premier League for City? You probably don't know, OK? So to add into that, you've got John Stones, you've got Manuel Akanji, you've got Ruben Diaz, and you've got Nathan Ake, alongside of Vardiol, who could also play in that position.
Right.
City played at their best when they had their best defenders available. That's what the previous years have been. Add into that the point that you don't want to make, which is a big point, having their number 6 come back into the team as well. And with that number 6 who complements everybody in that midfield, the way that City will look this year in good health will be very different to how it looked at their lowest point last year. My
problem with those defenders that you've named, I don't think any of them have played up to what we expect of them over the last 18 months.
No.
And I think you're
No. That's way off the pace.
I don't think so. I don't think you look at those players and you think, oh, OK, yes, Ruben Diaz is back to the...
How did they win the league the year before?
Back to the Ruben Diaz.
How did they win the league the year before?
18 months is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but how did they win? If
they'd already won the league by then, that was it.
What?
They were done. It was fine. But honestly...
Oh, I love you, Dan, honestly.
You look at someone like Ruben Diaz... I'm taking Saliba and Gabriel every single day of the week.
Which is completely fine.
And that's different to what you've had to deal with before.
No, it's not. Because Saliba and Gabriel have had a really good partnership for the last 3 seasons, you could say.
Right.
That's spoken for itself. Same way with Liverpool. You've got Kanate and you've got Van Dijk. But where City are different is their combinations change almost on a game-to-game basis.
And that's been to their detriment over the last 18 months.
No, not 18 months. If you had said last 12 months, I'd make a better argument. But instead, you're just not there, Dan. You're just way off the mark.
I'd say the last 13 months.
Listen, I understand where you're coming from, but what I would say is most people that watch them on a week-to-week basis with a level of emotion around it.
I watch them. You know, we all watch them.
No, I understand. No, you don't.
You don't watch them properly. You don't see what's going on. I see them.
You don't watch them.
With big gaping gaps.
You don't watch them. You don't watch them, and that's fine because you've got a lot of other stuff to watch.
What am I doing with City playing?
As is the case with this show, like I love it. I love it.
Oh my goodness, it's coming over. Right, get ready for this, Shaq.
Listen,
I really like this show, but it's terrible.
I'm going to draw a line out. This is where some fans get really angry because the way that we talk about our teams isn't to the same detail that they'd want, but it's because we have to look at everything.
But they're watching it with a bias. We don't. You've already admitted that you've only picked Manchester City because you're a City fan.
Yes.
So therefore, it's very difficult for you to sit there objectively and tell me that defensively over the last 14 months,
I've told you, I've literally provided you facts on the last 2 days about what City did in the second half of last season. But they don't matter to you. Don't let facts affect your feelings.
I know. I'm not sure. Here's the problem. You keep bringing up this last how many months?
The last 20 games of last season.
Last 20 games in which you got knocked out of the Champions League by Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Terrible Real Madrid side, worst one that we've seen for years.
Yeah.
And then you managed to make it into the top 4 in the Premier League. The worst Premier League. Worst Premier League we've seen in years. Yes.
Okay. I remember. I'm not going to take that on board. I remember being on the show.
Am I not telling the truth?
I remember being on on a show
am I not telling
season.
The truth?
Sorry, Shaq, I'll bring you in a second.
I'm good.
I remember being on a show with Stevie in the run-in for like the league, and he said he didn't think City would finish top 4. That's the position that they were in.
Right.
Yeah. They end up finishing the season 3 points behind Arsenal. So something has changed there, and Stevie understood how wild it was what he was saying.
Stevie,
Stevie's here. You know what I mean? Let him have his opinion.
Because Stevie said it, that's your source.
City will play in a manner which suits them this season, and with good health, they'll be very competitive. And like you said, I've shown my bias in terms of picking them to win the league, but I've also said all 3 teams are basically the same in my mind. So why would I not pick the team that I support?
It's fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. The season starting. There we are.
Clearly. It's fun already.
Why is that the time? Oh, my God. That was longer than the Mallorca segment. What are we doing now? Transfer talk? Should we do that?
Go on then.
Oh, Liverpool-Bournemouth. They're playing.
Oh,
yeah. There we go. Thoughts?
Liverpool.
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 Okay, Liverpool. There we are. Of course, Liverpool have signed a new defender as well. We spoke about it yesterday. We won't talk about him because no one's seen him play, and we won't pretend that we have seen him play. He's added to the squad. Giovanni Leone making that
6'5". Another tree at the back for Liverpool. They got some big fellas, haven't they?
That's why we won't talk about it. That's the insight you're going to get. And of course, to keep up to the latest.